Thank you, Jim, and welcome to everybody who is participating in our August Virtual Technology Conference. Lots of different workshops this time or sessions. I hope you enjoy the ones that you attend. And please, when you receive the survey, would you please return it to us? This is our first one using Adobe Connect. I read some comments in Ron's chat, and it seems like it's working a lot better for people than iLink did. So we appreciate you participating. This is 10 simple things every computer user should know how to do. This presentation came about by me receiving an email from Jim Evans saying Lifehacker has something on their website. You'll probably going to put a presentation together about it. They had 10 simple things. I like 2 of theirs, and I came up with 8 of my own. So here we go. No matter how savvy you are, there's certain things that you forget how to do, you don't know how to do, you don't always deal with them in the most efficient ways. So here's 10 things that everyone can and should learn to keep their computer fast, safe, and easy to use. Uncheck the boxes before you install anything. That's kind of a no-brainer for us, but there's lots of helpful apps out there. But you need to be very, very careful, and you need to watch out because the installers are pushy. Whoever they are, they think you need all of the extras, and it's just another thing added to your PC. Your start menu, your browser toolbar, things that you really don't want. You might get a new desktop icon and you say, hey, how did that get there? I did not put it there. Something appears in your notification menu. Starts up when you turn on your computer and you start to say, my goodness, my computer is taking so long to turn on. Well, they come bundled with the one app that you were interested in downloading. And every time they get downloaded, they make a few dollars for the app that you want, developer. So please take time, smell the roses, and uncheck the boxes. Take a look. No, I don't want this. Uncheck. They are all very carefully checked for you. And over time, your toolbars might look like this. I worked on one of my grandson's computers, and his wasn't quite this bad, but it was pretty close to it. And of course, he said, I never downloaded any of those things. So when you download something, make sure that you click on the correct download button. I always go to the source, Puriform for CCleaner. I don't download it from CNET or any place else. I always make sure that I go to the app developer if I possibly can. There's less chance of clicking on the wrong thing just because it looks to you like it's the right thing. So here, this is very easy. You can do the free one, or you can decide to upgrade to these. But you click on File Hippo or Download.com, or I'm clicking on Puriform down at the bottom to make sure that I get it directly from the source. So these are utilities. These are some of my favorites. I love CCleaner. I tell everybody that I talk to, you need to get CCleaner. I teach a preventive maintenance class, and I can, using the Windows Cleaner preventive maintenance things, I can drag it on for almost 2 hours. And at the end, I say, hey, and they're all beginners. Would you like to see how you can do this a lot quicker? And they're going, oh, yes, of course. The thing is, they need to be able to trust a program to do it for them. I bring up CCleaner and I show them how efficient and easy it is to do what we have just done through all of the Windows things. Malwarebytes. Love this. In addition to any of your security suites that you happen to love and have on your program, whether it be Norton or Viper, whatever, you can have Malwarebytes as a double check. If you know Ira Wilsker, your editor, has put some of his articles in your newsletter, then he recommends Malwarebytes. Read in a blog this morning that this person was not recommending it anymore because they had taken away the ability to stop the extra little toolbars that you just might get when you're on a particular website. Apparently there was so many complaints about that, they instantly put it back on. In addition to Malwarebytes, Ira also likes Super Anti-Spyware just as a double check because we know no security suite does everything 100% for us. I love programs that do one-stop shopping, I call it. PhotoRaiser does absolutely nothing other than resize photos. It can do one photo, 3 photos, or an entire folder. At the Southwest Conference, we have a digital photo contest, and I need to get all of the submitted photos that have been well over 100 at times to our webmaster to get them onto the website. I resize everything in PhotoRaiser. It goes on the website. It goes in the PowerPoint presentation that I show at the conference. I have never had one photographer complain that their photo looks any different than how they submitted it. The great thing is it all is contained in a subfolder called Small Photos. So the originals are still there. Do Not Track is a neat program. It tracks where you are on the internet. Jim Evans told me about this one. A lot of people use BellArc. I happen to like system information for Windows. I like the way the information is displayed, and it tells you everything but the kitchen sink that is on your hard drive. Shields Up. Like having Malwarebytes or Super Anti-Spyware, Shields Up is by Steve Gibson, and he has loved user groups from the beginning of time almost, and this checks your open ports. I teach at a high school adult ed, and forever and a day they had one open port, and by golly, this year it was closed, and I was really surprised. But this double checks to make sure that all of your ports are closed, that your firewall, etc., is doing what it's supposed to do. At the end of the presentation, there's going to be a handout that you can download, and it has a list of every program that I talk about, the URL, as well as a little blurb about it. Google shortener, Bitly shortener, either one, they're really great. Some of those Microsoft URLs have 125 characters, and when you send that to someone, they might just click on the first line and it doesn't grab the whole URL, and they think you're dingy because they can't get any place. So please be courtesy and shorten it for them. I haven't used Adobe Reader for 3 years, ever since they got hacked the first time. I use Nitro PDF Free Reader, and it is great. They have a $100 program that you can purchase, but I love the free reader. I'm also using the free PDF to Word or Excel that they offer on their on a website. Again, they convert the PDF to Word. I've never had a problem. Graphics are there, tables are there, whatever. One of my members told us at a meeting about Print Friendly, and it saves you ink, paper, and money. You can copy your URL that you want to print into their website, and it will cut out all of the ads, etc., etc. And then you can actually go into it and get rid of more of the things, so you only print exactly what you want to. And here's just some graphics on the programs that I was talking about. Here's Shields Up. You can say people just love that one. So what are your favorites? Think about it. Think about having a meeting, just a short little mini session at your meeting, and have your members share their favorites. You all know that people really don't like to talk at meetings, but if you have something like this and you started out with some that you like, who knows, you might have some members step up to the plate and start talking about what some of their favorites are. And if they do, I always take note of them and then send them out to all of the attendees as a benefit of their being at that meeting so we can share all of our favorites. Do you have a backup system set up? Windows 7 has a nice backup system. Windows 8 does. I don't think anybody in their right mind would have used a Windows 7, and since so many people didn't like Vista, they probably didn't use that one either. But the Windows 7, at a minimum, everybody should be using a backup, and it's there and it's free. We have our good friend Gene Barlow, and you can buy his Acronis backup for half price at his website. I personally like a very easy one to use, NTI Shadow, and the company's out here in Orange County in California where I am. So what do you use to back up for data and or your system? What do you back up? Again, it's a mini meeting. You can talk about what you use to back up, ask your members who all backs up, and you would be surprised the amount of people that haven't got a clue how to back up, don't really know why, even though we say it over and over and over again, you need to back up, you need to back up. They still aren't getting it. So see if you can find some other members that are using some kind of backup and let them talk and share how they do it and why they do it. I personally have had 3 hard drives die, and let me tell you, that's not fun at all. So where do you back up? External hard drive, SkyDrive, Dropbox, SugarSync, CrashPlan. What's your backup plan? All topics for a mini meeting. A lot of people use Carbonite. Many of my members have found that CrashPlan is a little bit faster. They're located in Minnesota, and they've been very pleased with using CrashPlan, and it is a free from computer to computer or computer to your external hard drive, wherever. But they also have a paid program. What we need to stress to our members is they need to have redundant backup, because there's no telling if your external hard drive is good today, it could be bad tomorrow. Your hard drive dies, your external hard drive dies, you're dead in the water. So you really need to stress, you need something in the cloud. Okay. System restore. If you ask at your meeting how many people know anything about System Restore, or the opposite, how many people don't know anything about System Restore, you're going to have a lot of people raise their hand. It seems to be a little known utility that comes with Windows or other things, but it's critical that people know about it and know how to set one up from scratch. You don't want any malware. If you do get malware of some kind and you cannot get it off and you haven't created a restore point, one of my son's friends found that it's $149 at Staples to have it removed. And do you want to possibly format C? I'd rather not personally, but you know, you need that restore point. Critical is Patch Tuesday updates. You know how people don't like Microsoft, and they're always coming up with malware and everything to get into their, you know, where they need to patch it. So we automatically download it. It goes for the Windows program of our choice, 7, 8. It downloads patches for the Office suite, but a lot of people forget to install it. And every once in a while in your notification area, you'll have a yellow flag pop up, and it will let you know that there's something that you need to install. I worked on one gal's computer, and one of her daughters had turned off the installation process, and she had 142 patches that needed to be downloaded. And I said, we'll just start now, and then you just go to bed, and when you get up in the morning, it'll all be taken care of. And it really solved, by doing that, some of the problems that she had been having with her computer. So please don't forget to install them. How many people use keyboard shortcuts? If you were in front of my very eyes, I would see you all raise your hands, or hopefully most of you, and wave at me and say you do. They honestly make everything faster. Back in the day, F1 through F12 all did something. If you added the Shift key, they did 12 things more. If you added the Control key, you got 12 more things. If you added the Alt key, you ended up with F1 through 12, could do 48 different things. We all had these little cheat sheet, signs up by our keyboard, and then came the mouse. I still use keyboard shortcuts, especially with Windows 8. There's a lot of extra key clicks in Windows 8 for me, so I'm even using more keyboard shortcuts than I have before. Plus mouse clicks. What I tell my students, learn a few and then move on to some others. Back in the day, we could put them on Post-its and put them around the edges of our CRT monitors. Don't have that large space anymore, but choose a few and then get them under your belt and then get some more. They really do make things go faster and easier for you. I find it a lot of time, a waste of time for me to take my fingers off the keyboard and move it over to the mouse, click, and then move my hand back again. The standard ones, Control P for print, Control S for save, something that everybody needs to use all of the time when you first create a document and you give it a name, it backs up every 10 minutes. I customize to back it up every 5 minutes. And then every few sentences or paragraphs, I just automatically do Control S to save it. So if the lights go out, the computer goes down for whatever reason, I have got almost the most recent document that I am going to retrieve. Control F is find. You can click in the upper right hand corner of your ribbon, but I prefer Control F. Control Home to the top, Control N to the bottom, and on and on. And there it is, on and on. So think about what your favorite shortcuts are. And another thing, plan a meeting. When I do this, it's interesting to find the different shortcuts that over the years people have decided that they need and they use. And I've been using them since day one almost. And every once in a while, somebody has one that they just cannot live without. I've never heard of it before. So if it works for me, I add it to my repertoire. So you need to do regular maintenance on your computer. We spend lots of money for our computers, but do we really take care of it? Of course, we maintain our car. I just took mine in for its 10,000-mile checkup. Of course, I was 2,500 miles late, but that's okay. At least it got itself taken care of. It's in tip-top shape now. We clean our closets every once in a while, but we need to regularly clean our hard drives. We can use the Windows processes. Again, this is at my preventive maintenance class. I can show them how to do it with that, or automate it with CCleaner like I talked about before. If you have not used CCleaner, you really need to give it a try. It is a wonderful program. Whoever mentioned this to me years ago, and it could have been an article by Ira, this saves you so much time. I have preached this at the groups that I present to. I go out to the Laverne Community Computer Club, and there's one gal that she does it every Friday now. And that's really great. She hardly uses her computer, but I think it's wonderful that she uses CCleaner to keep her hard drive spiffy. She does it every single Friday. If you are going to do a deep scan with your security suite or Malwarebytes, you should use CCleaner first to get rid of all of the temp files and all of the junk that's in there. You don't want to take the time for Malwarebytes or your security suite to scan everything that you want to get rid of anyway. So use CCleaner first before you do that. The other thing on a sidebar on CCleaner is a lot of people only use it to clean their hard drives. But if you look on the left-hand side of your CCleaner window, you'll find other things. And a lot of people don't like to go into a complicated way to stop things from starting up. They really don't need this program to start up every time they turn on their computer. And there's that function in CCleaner where you can look and see what everything is, and you can disable it from starting up. And whenever you want it to start up again for you when you turn your computer on, all you need to do is go in and enable it. There's also a get rid of it, which I would never do. I would just disable and then enable if I have to again. If you're in doubt, you can copy it, paste it into your browser search, and find out exactly what it does. And you go, oops, got to have that when I turn my computer on, don't want to disable that. But it's really a no-brainer way to make your startup process go a little bit faster. There's other things in there, plus a registry cleaner. And of course, that's up to the individual person. There's many people out there that say you should not touch your registry with a 10-foot pole. CCleaner does offer that capability. They also have the uninstall feature that may or may not be a little bit better than the Windows regular uninstall feature. So please check out your CCleaner if you use it and see what else you can do with it. And again, it's one of those one-stop shopping type programs. Don't forget to do regular maintenance on your smartphone also. Can you bring deleted files back from the dead? After at school, we put some things into the recycle bin and then we empty it. That's a question that I ask my students. And almost everybody says no. And my comment to them is, can they really get up and walk off your hard drive? And then they get the gist. Terry Courier in 2012 at our Southwest conference put a presentation together on probably upwards of 25 different programs, and check that out. And can you get them back from your hard drive, your flash drive, your SD card? There's an external hard drive, so on and so on. Here are the ones that he checked out. He actually did smart drive, smart card, flash drive, hard drive, SD card, and he checked each one of these programs with a series of pictures, movies, etc., to see how they worked. And his presentation, covers the whole 9 yards of how everything works. And he liked Pandora Recovery better. It gives you a preview. You can see which pictures you want to recover and which ones with all the kids' eyes crossed or, everybody blurred that you don't want to recover. On the flash drive, it found everything except for 2 videos. The SD card found all the pictures and all the videos. And the hard drive, it could point to where to look, found everything, and he recovered everything. So I'm sure there's those of you out there who use a different recovery program, and maybe some of you didn't even realize that, yes, you can recover files and bring them back from the dead. And here's what it looks like. Protect yourself from viruses. We have heard this a gazillion times. One of the most important things in the whole world when it comes to computers. You have to have a good one. That's the point. You need to keep it updated. If you choose to pay for it, as opposed to using one of the free ones, please don't forget to pay. I remind my members about this every once in a while because many people buy new computers, and I know I did last year, and they said, oh, you have this program, and it's free, and it's a virus suite. And I said, I really don't want it. I have my own that I prefer. I happen to use Viper. And, oh, no, you must take this. It's free. And I said, okay, I will, give it as a door prize at one of my meetings. And luckily, I put it away and I forgot about it because they didn't bother to say, well, it's only 3 months worth of subscription. And a lot of people when they buy their new computer, they don't realize that. And when it pops up and says you need to pay, if they're beginners, they say to themselves, I just bought my computer. It's included with it. Why should I have to pay? And then all of a sudden, they don't have anything, and they now, somewhere along the line, have picked up a virus. So again, please tell your members, don't forget to pay when the sign pops up. But in California, and I don't know how many other of you have Fry's or something like it, once you buy your software, you can go to Fry's and they have them for, it ends up you just pay the sales tax. So if you buy it once, you get the sales tax, and each year you just upgrade it and you pay the sales tax. How these people make money, I don't know, but almost every major antivirus developer gives their software away for free. Viper doesn't do that, and I'm happy to pay with no problem at all. But check out your ads like this and see if you have a store next to you that does this. McAfee is something that the most of us don't recommend, and I always ask when I give a presentation if there's anybody still using McAfee. They had a buggy update last August, and it actually caused customers to lose their internet connectivity on their computers. And I always wondered how they could get everything back again if they didn't have their internet connectivity. They had to call their ISP or whoever, which was really unfortunate. But stress this with your members. They need to have a good one. They need to keep it updated. But one of the things that people, I find, almost universally don't do is they don't go in and set up the scan your hard drive time. And oftentimes it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's the same thing with the Microsoft updates. They need to set up the time that they're going to download and set it up. And my computers happen to be on 24/7, but in class or at meetings, I'll say, take a look at it. And if people bring their laptops in, they look at it, and their computer's turned off at the time it's supposed to scan. And when they set the date, the time and day where they want it to happen, then it says it hasn't been scanned for, X number of weeks or whatever. So please make sure that you set that up on your computers and remind your members that's something that they need to take care of too. So another thing, meeting, what is everybody using? Talk about it, reinforce all the security settings that they can do. We have people at my group use various and sundry different things, and we often have quite a lively discussion on which one is best and why it's best, and of course try to convince everybody in the room that that's what they need to use. And I imagine many of you have had Bob G. from Avast give his presentation. And if you haven't, you really need to get in touch with him. He does do tours. I recently had him on a tour in Southern California. He's in Arizona in November. He's going back to Florida in December. He was in Florida in May. But if you're in a standalone area where there's not another group near you that meets like on a consecutive day or maybe 2 or 3 days later, and you can't get a Bob G. Security presentation in person, he does give webinars, and they are absolutely outstanding. Everybody really learns a lot. At the last one that he gave at my group, which was my July meeting, it was interesting to hear him talk about the same things I talk about, and everybody in the room was frantically taking notes. And I thought, talk about credibility. I'm just Judy, but he was Bob and the authority, and it just kind of, I was really glad that he was there. So people were paying rapt attention to what he was saying. And you always learn something new when he talks to you. So you need to keep your personal information safe and secure. You have to have strong hack-proof passwords. I was just watching the news this morning, and I'm finding out at the Black Hat meeting in Las Vegas that they know how to hack into your Samsung and whatever smart TVs are out there. My kids happen to have a Samsung, and they're saying it's a good idea if you have a webcam with your TV that when you're not using it, you put a Post-it over it so the hackers can't see what you're doing in your living room or your bedroom. So, I mean, is there nothing sacred out there, for heaven's sakes? But anyway, after you have created your password, go into the Microsoft password checker, and there's my Google URL shortener, because here's their 125 character regular URL, and check it out and make sure it's strong. You want a minimum of strong, and if you can get it up to very strong, that's even a lot better. Okay? Microsoft doesn't care what your password is. They're not keeping track of them. It's just a service they offer. There's other services out there, but I prefer to use the Microsoft one. So, how long does it take to crack a password? If you have 8 upper or lowercase letters, it takes a hacker 13 minutes. And say goodbye to your banking information. Your Yahoo email account has just been hacked, and that wonderful email is being sent out to all of your friends that when they click on it and they get something nasty and they think it comes from you. 9 upper or lowercase letters, a little bit better, 9 hours. 8 upper lowercase letters, a number or more, a symbol or more equals 57 days. One would hope that if a hacker comes across a password with a minimum of the 8 upper and lowercase, etc., that he'll say, I'm not going to take 57 days to do this. So make sure that your password is a good one. And again, I cite my students. We sit there in class and I'll say, please put each one of your passwords in and check them out. That reinforces the fact to them that they need to have more than one password for everything. But it also gives them the opportunity, because they're not going to do this when they go home, to find out whether they have a strong one or not. And you can hear the gasps because they don't have a strong one. So I recommend that everybody that's listening to this check out each and every one of your passwords and see how they go. I have come up with my password that I do for show and tell for my classes and for meetings is the first initial of all of the animals that I have and my daughters have, plus some extra things in there, but I can certainly remember the name of each of the animals and the symbols and things like that. So the other thing that they're talking about these days is using a passphrase where you actually type a sentence. And when my 12-year-old grandson got his new Win 8 laptop, his mother put this convoluted password in there, but that I don't think anybody in their right mind can remember. And she's changed it to a passphrase for him. So he just has to type in his little sentence and off he goes. And of course, if you have a passphrase, then that has you with a lot more than 9 of any kind of symbols, letters, and things like this. Okay. Alpha, 1 capital letter, 1 number, 1 symbol, at a minimum. And here's all my animals with the @ sign and a number and a cap, although that's not the most important animal right there. So how do you remember all of these passwords? We have a member that comes to our meetings, and every once in a while he will bring his 3-ring binder. He is up to 5 college ruled, and that's skinnier than high school ruled paper, and he has them completely filled with his passwords. We have no clue what he uses them all for, but 5 pages of one on a line. It absolutely blows our mind when he brings this in, and I think that's why he brings it into the meeting. So, do you put it in an address book that can just sit up on a table or on a bookshelf or something like that, or in a desk drawer by the telephone that is an address book, but it really has passwords in it? This might work for some people. Or do you have a password protection program? Okay, not a bad idea. RoboForm automatically fills in password field when you go to a website. They have a free one. They have a pay program. I talked with one of the vice presidents of RoboForm's parent company at the recent AARP convention in Las Vegas and said, you know, we didn't hear from you last year for Southwest. And then he gave me a gentleman's name, and he said, does that ring a bell? And I said, yes, because they're a long-term supporter. And he said, well, we got rid of him. I'm so sorry. And so the one thing that I brokered with him is if there are any groups out there that would like to give a RoboForm presentation, he will send you the license numbers for several copies. I do not know how many, and you can use them as door prizes. So if you want to do that, get in touch and I will give you his name and his email address. And I thought that was a pretty good perk for him, feeling a little, bad that he didn't support the conference last year. But, that just might be a way for you to reinforce this is how a password protection program works. He is on the East Coast, and you East Coast people, I did try to get him to come and make presentations, and this was our compromise, the license numbers. LastPass is a free and pay, same kind of program. I think this is the one that Jim Evans uses. And since we all have passwords for so many things, we're kind of all on the older spectrum, and our brains are full of all kinds of different information that we've accumulated over the year that maybe, we don't have the ability to remember each and every one of them automatically. So you might want to try one or more and to see which one you like. If you download a trial version, if there is one, you can check it out, see if it's something you're interested in. And if you're not, no harm, no foul. The same way with the free one. If you don't like it, you can just uninstall it. Okay. You might want to think about removing the identifying data from your photos and other files, especially if you are posting information up on Facebook. Your children have just had a new baby, and you've been over to their house taking a gazillion pictures, and you upload the photos to Facebook or any place else. Do you have the GPS identification information included with that shows where they live? You certainly don't want to share that information, so you might want to think about looking into your camera. Number one, check your photos to see if it does that. And if you don't want to have the GPS identification, you can turn it off in your camera settings. Just keeping everything safe and secure. You all know this, but I'm going to say it again. Never use public Wi-Fi networks for banking or whatever. I once had a long-term member of another group ask me if I thought it was okay for him to use the hotel Wi-Fi network at a conference to do his banking. And as I picked myself up off the floor thinking, my goodness, I guess, maybe you've been asleep at all your meetings or something. But, again, reinforce this. I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but reinforce this with your members. That's one of the ways last year that you got the ransomware, the FBI scam. If you were in person, we talk about your suggestions. But again, this is something you can do again for a mini meeting. Talk about this, and other people might have other suggestions. And once you can get them comfortable with just saying one thing, the next time you ask, they might even raise their hand and volunteer to, talk about something. We try to bring our members on slowly but surely, getting comfortable about talking about what they use, what their experiences are, And if just these little things that I've talked about today, you have little mini snippets in your meetings about these, it's just like a round table discussion and no formal presentation. You might just get some people comfortable with talking, which, helps all of us who make presentations. So this is what my resources guide looks like. It's a PDF document, and it has all of the URLs, but then again, it has also the a little blurb about each one. So you kind of get a jog there on what everything does. Jim, do we have any questions?
Turn my microphone on. Yes, going back to Nitro PDF, is there a way to have it a link to it from your browser? The question was the Nitro PDF link into my browser.
I don't know. I have no clue. I have it on my hard drives.
Okay.
I just love.
There's been a lot of discussion about password manager programs, as well as setting up a VPN when you're out and about on Wi-Fi. Let me just see what else there is. That's really about the only question. There's another question coming in. Judy, if you want to talk for a minute,
Nancy?
I'm going to put your handout up
Jim's putting up
so
my
people can
handout right
download it.
now, Nancy. Eli, that's a good idea. Set your browser to clear the history on exit every single time you exit your computer. Good idea to do that. The handout should appear on the right-hand side momentarily. Eli's typing. Oh, well, when we did the practice run, it was on the right. And then he's going to, are you going to, it's coming, it's coming.
It's coming, just hang on. Okay, it's there. If you just highlight the 10 simple thing resources, then you should be able to, the download button will turn on.
Be thinking about what kind of presentations you would like for the November. Although, to be honest with you, it was almost easier to start setting up the November presentations because a lot of people were busy this summer and didn't have time to do it. Always looking for new presenters. If you are somebody who gives a presentation at your computer club and you are comfortable with actually not, looking at anybody while you're doing this, but you have some good, interesting presentations out there, again, get in touch. Love to have some new people doing this. I know Dave Gerber has jumped in. He's an APCUG director from Florida, and he's going to be doing his first presentation in November. And, if you're comfortable giving presentations, this is a way to share your knowledge with other people.
There was also a question about why not store your password in your web browser. The reason for that is Internet Explorer and Google Chrome is very easy to break into the password file. Firefox is a little bit better at protecting your passwords, but if you really want to protect your passwords and have a password manager, you want to be using a standalone password program.
You can also put them on a flash drive and encrypt it. You can also have it, on your hard drive encrypted file. But a password manager program enables you to get your passwords from any place. And one of the first things I tell my students is don't ever have anybody save your passwords online like Google or IE.
Um, I'll bet you this as an interesting add-on for Firefox
Okay, it's
over in the
called
chat box.
self-destructing cookies. It does what it says. It destroys cookies as you surf, allows you to selectively keep cookies as needed. Cool to see a little box pop up and show all the cookies being deleted, even from third-party sites. And that is for Firefox, and it's self-destructing cookies. There used to be a program back in the day that every time a cookie wanted to be put on your hard drive, it barked at you, and it kind of tended to drive everybody crazy because they didn't realize when you go to a website, every single page you click on in that website wants to put an individual cookie on it. And you know, I don't know how long it stayed around, but those of us who had it demonstrated thought it was funny, but after a while the funny really wore off. Thank you, President at looks like the New Jersey Computer Club. Thank you so much. It's time for us to say goodbye and get ready for the next presentation that follows me. Thank you so much for attending. And if you have anything that you would like to add to this presentation on utilities you like or you use, get in touch. I'm Taylour, Taylour, at apcug.org, and I can add it. Thank you so much.